Merci beaucoup, Ms. Carré, for your excellent presentation. Now, thank you. I would like to thank all the panelists for their very interesting presentation made so far. So I'm not really, I don't have any confidence whether I can have a proper takings, but at least I could tell that there are many informations, many valuable information so far. So yeah, let me take a rough takings of this presentation. From Mr. Watanabe, a case was presented in which a Japanese sake brewing company, Hakutsuru, has adopted a heat pump system and actually has attained a considerable, substantial results of energy efficiency improvement, CO2 reduction, etc. The presentation from Mr. Wist illustrated RICO's strong commitment towards the reduction of CO2 and the realization of circular economy. So I think there is one keyword that I made a guidance presentation for it. In the case of RICO, for example, a strong commitment, I think, maybe one example of how these issues are, elements are important. Other takings for RICO is that they're setting a strong target by themselves under this strong commitment. And I think the presenter has presented some actual means to reduce the consumption of energy, like using the heat recovery and other many means, and the introduction of renewables. And as for the presentation by Mr. Onuki-san, yes, I think he illustrated an extensive efforts planned and undertaken by Shiseido Company to improve efficiency of energy use and CO2 reduction through a set of combination and integration of various means. So I think here also there are a couple of key elements, such as in order to push forward to function as an engine to promote the CO2 reduction and energy management, organizational issue, how to set appropriate organization. And I think there are a couple of more, like digital, the utilization, a better utilization, introduction of digital. And I think he cited through digital the more visualization of data. And I think he explained that by visualization, about 80%, nearly 80% of energy efficiency has been attained. And what is interesting at the same time as an effective use of digital is the prediction of how solar can provide energy. That's really very interesting aspect. And as for the presentation by Ms. Curry, I think she just explained very concisely about the situation surrounding the use of insulation materials, that there might be more rooms to better utilize that important material in order to attain CO2 reduction, etc. And here I mm, I just noticed that there are some efforts made by Sangoban to uh, to promote the awareness of properly using this installation in combination, in right combination with other means in order to really attain this improvement of energy efficiency. And just as I explained at the guidance, I just touched upon the relation between this policy framework and the actual action. And I think Ms. Carey has pointed out some kind of a proposal or request uh, um, which comes from the industrial side to the policymakers. Am I right? For example, some kind of guidance, regulation, regulatory issues should be addressed. I think you cited about standardization, which is a part of policy framework. And at the same time, I think you addressed about when the policy framework or the policy when implementing policy, not just single measures, but we must think about more of a systematic approach, etc. I'm not sure if I'm really taking that. So I think these are the takings. Very, very. I think this is a lot of information, a lot of useful information. So I just want to ask several questions. For example, Onuki-san, I think that there is a comprehensive approach in reducing the improving the energy efficiency. You just cited many of the combination, and the role of organization in order to pursue that. I think this planning of this is not an easy task for you. And especially, according to my understanding, many of the private companies, they have different goals, different benefits. So it's not so easy to coordinate. But I think you are the person responsible for making up those structuring, those you succeeded. But what are the most difficult obstacle for you to reach that kind of success? This is my first question.
Thank you for the questions. I think manufacturing factories have a very strong quality awareness. So therefore, there is a negative bias that energy conservation activities may increase quality risks. But to overcome such negative bias, we must identify all possible risks using quantitative figures and make a concrete plan to realize those risks are acceptable. This will convince not only management, but also production operators that the benefit outweighs the risks. So, everyone can move forward to the same directions.
Okay, thank you so much. So you just thank you very much for the information. I think that is a very difficult task, but I think you just succeeded in integrating all the stakeholders, major players. Thank you so much. I think that's really informative. So my second question is about RICO, and I think. In that regard, a strong commitment and so I think there's some commonalities between what I've just asked to Onuki-san regarding. So I would like to ask first the same question because the commitment, a strong commitment is an important factor, but at the same time, RICO itself, of course, if you just analyze each section, they might have different views, and it's not so easy to coordinate. So this is my first question. So the second question is about, you set the target of CO2 reduction, involving scope 1 and 2, and especially scope 3. Now, scope 3 is a little bit of, I think it's somewhat a not so easy to handle because it involves some trading partners. So the second question is scope 3, which is, I think it's transport and other spare parts. So pursuing scope 3 should convince them to become green, right? So what is the difficulty, or how did you succeed that? I think that's one of the interesting points that I would like to know.
Yes, so first of all, yes, you're right. I think you could see on top of our group, there is a strong, very strong commitment towards ESG, and specifically to reduce CO2 emissions and develop also circular economy, which helps in resource conservation, that's clear. After, you're right, that's at the top level. And when we come to the different sites, then there is sometimes the issue regarding the investment, because if you want to install equipment which permit to reduce consumption, so on, it means investment. And then there is always the question on the return on investment. So that's, I want to say, still an obstacle on some points. But the global direction is how to say, given by our top management. So we continue on that way in any case. That's for sure. Regarding scope 3, yes, you're right. So scope 1 and 2, I think we can drive it by ourselves. We can have some concrete action. Scope 3, we need collaboration. So, and there is different areas. So for example, if we speak about the scope 3 is mainly focused on the use. The use means you need to procure parts, materials. So you need to find suppliers, and you need to find suppliers which are aligned with your policy. That's the first point. It's not always so easy. RICO is having some contracts with our customers, some commitment towards our goals we explained just before. Regarding transportation, it's the same issue, because our main factories are in Asia. So it means our factory, for example, is in Europe. So you need to transport towards the sea. And this is not the best way of helping to reduce the environmental impacts. That's why we are looking more and more to develop local activities. That's why I have also explained about circular economy. Because when you produce locally, reuse products, which will be mixed with the new products, it means globally it will reduce the number of virgin ones which are produced in Asia. So it means you can reduce from this activity also the impact on the planet. So this is, for example, another point. On the transportation itself, we are also working. Today, we use a lot of trucks, but our parts are coming to Rotterdam, for example, concretely, coming to Rotterdam, and from Rotterdam to close to Strasbourg, where is our site, we are using barge, not or train. We reduce as we can trucks. So this is also contributing. This is a concrete example also how we can help and to reduce these kind of emissions.
Thank you so much. So in addition to convincing or sharing the same kind of goal on circular economy, RICO eventually is selecting some more greener transport and combination. Okay, and thanks a lot for this. So to Watanabe-san, yes, and thank you very much for this explanation about Hakutsuru. And my question is, okay, I think introducing heat pumps for a company is sometimes not easy. because um, uh, when investing to heat pumps, it might cost, you just pointed out the advantage, and sometimes you need money, a lot of money. So I just wanted to know how Hakutsuru company has made a decision uh, to introduce a rather, I won't say very expensive, but you need money. And so um, um, what is your thinking about, yeah, eventually I know that it reduces energy, but did they have finally agreed, or they are very forward looking from the first time, or they say, oh, this is expensive, but sometimes there is collaboration between the manufacturer, heat pumps, and Hakutsuru. Are there any collaboration or information exchange, and then say, okay, in that case, maybe it's worthwhile to introduce this heat pumps. Okay, we'll make a decision. I just wanted to know the background of that, if possible. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, heat pump is, yeah, of course, is costly compared by boiler. But yeah, very important is all of talking now is how can we reduce CO2 emission, and 2050 we need to zero emission by all of the world. Then for we can reach this target, it's very important to use a heat pump because it's a high efficiency equipment. COP is more than 7. Then yeah, cost is highly, but CO2 emission reduce and energy cost also reduce. Then yeah, this point, all of end user company need to look at this target. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm
Thank you.
asking because sometimes it's difficult for smaller companies to, why should we, buy this very expensive thing? So maybe I just wanted to know how they can understand. Maybe you need to explain very much, yeah, and to explain about how the recovery period is, etc., etc. Okay. Thank you very much. So, Ms. Garay, yes, I think, yes, just as you explained, your company has a lot of interactions with building owners, and especially in order to pursue zero energy building, ZEB, or so what kind of collaboration are you are actually doing? Do you have a kind of a consultation mechanism to persuade the building owners to reduce energy consumption, etc.? What is the role of Sangoban in that regard? Maybe you have explained, but if I missed that, I'm sorry.
No, that wasn't directly part. I started with explaining the building renovation passport, which is not a tool of Saint-Gobain, but it's a tool that we have been working on and supportive of over a decade. And now it is embraced in the Energy Performance of Buildings Directive. So we will promote it and we will follow how it takes shape in the all 27 European countries. So that's one way of accompanying the decision makers, which are the building owner. It is very different to receive what we call energy performance certificate, which is static, which is a picture of the energy performance, and to be explained what step you can undertake and how they need to be organized. So the sequencing of the steps is also very important. So that's one of the area. Then within Saint-Gobain, we also have some a distribution branch, and they are closer to the end consumer via all the professionals working on the market. And they also have tools digital tools to help undertake works in a building. So that is also part of what we do. And then, I mean, if we reach out also in terms of skills and professionals, there are also one of the very important step in the chain towards the end consumer. So there are also numbers of programs that these are the skills that they need to be using to, for example, to renovate the buildings, to the carpenters, the roofers, to do the insulation, the glazing. But then there are also very important aspect in terms of communicating with the people, re-ensuring that the quality will be there, that it is not going to take 5 years, that things are happening. So there we are also definitely present. And since I have the microphone, I don't want, when I get it again, I need to say also that the implementation of this buildings directive will rely on the sharing of what exists in many countries in that respect. And it is easier said than done, because those programs are very specific, very local, very national. And even if they come from EU-funded projects, then the work it takes to translate and to hand over those outcomes to other geographies, to other markets, this is still challenging. So there, it's also an encouragement to do more on that. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I'm asking because, zero ZEB is becoming more and more important in this building sector. And I just wanted to have, the government, every government or many governments are trying to push forward the ZEB. So I just wanted to ask you, yes, there are. So in that case, you've mentioned about, the actual, promoting ZEB is one thing, but as you said, you need a lot of information sharing and
Yes.
consultation and coordination. So yeah, that's quite
Maybe-
informative.
Maybe I could briefly add as well that we see also the interaction between policies and regulatory requirements, but also the voluntary labeling that exists also in the market. So Saint-Gobain has been for decades involved in supporting this, because it is also a way, to have those labels in either new buildings or renovated buildings to test the feasibility, the economic practicality, and to have a set of buildings having done that. Then it's easier also to scale up the uptake when it comes into the regulation. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. And it's really quite informative. I could continue more, but I think there's time restraints. I'll stop here. And thanks so much. It's so informative anyway. And I think we could grasp a couple of important points. So please give a warm applaud to the panelists once again.